At the beginning of Revi'i, we encounter the famous scene where Yaakov called together his 12 sons to give them his final words, not brachot, because some of the words that he delivered were also rebukes, but statements for each of them to consider. Vayikra Yaakov el banav vayomer. Yaakov called his sons together and he said, Hey, asfu, come together, v'yagida lachem, and I will tell you at asher yikra etchem b'acharit hayamim, what will befall you in days to come. Hikavtzu v'shimu b'nei Yaakov, v'shimu al Yaakov avichem. Assemble and hearken, O sons of Yaakov, hearken to Israel, your father. These two psukim that introduce Perek Memtet seem to be redundant, which led the Gemara and many of the Rishonim, first and foremost Rashi, to note that Yaakov actually has two statements, because he began with a desire, ligalot et haketz, to tell his sons all about the Messianic era. But God took away his prophetic abilities, and so he had to start over again. Let me tell you about the Mashiach. And then he couldn't, and therefore he kaptzu v'shimu b'nei Yaakov. So listen, he changes the subject, offers a second introduction, having to start all over again. And yet the Abarbanel views these two psukim as a single introduction, where he first brings his sons together, Asfu v'agida lachem, let me tell you. And then he tells them one more piece. He kavtzu v'shimu, I need you to be together. Why? Because originally he was calling them, and they thought that everything he was going to say were going to be words of blessing. But we know that's not to be the case. And so Yaakov tells them, after he brings them together, is I need you to be like Bnei Yaakov. I need you to understand that I'm speaking to you as a father to his sons, and that you have this unique ability because you are the first of the generations of the patriarchs who will all follow in the path of their father. Avraham, unfortunately, had to suffer through the rebellion of Yishmael. Yitzchak had to suffer through the rebellion of Esav. Yaakov was privileged to have all 12 sons be together. They were the Bnei Yaakov. So first come, but I don't want you to be surprised by what I'm going to say. I want you to understand that I'm speaking to you as a father. That's the Abarbanel. And yet, Rav Herzog, the first chief rabbi of the state of Israel, looked at these two psukim not as repetition, but as introduction and actually the blessing itself. As Rav Herzog explained, those opening words, Yaakov itkaven lahagid levanav et hakriyah shel acharit hayamim. When Yaakov said, I'm going to tell you et asher yikra etchem, not what will happen, but will call you together. Yikra with an aleph and not with a hey at the end. He was going to give them the sisma v'adrisha shel hayamim hahem. I'm going to give you the motto and the demand of the Messianic era. And what was that demand? He never lost his prophecy. Rather, what Mashiach will require was hikavtzu v'shim'u. Come together, coalesce, and listen. V'shim'u el Yisrael avichem. We need you to listen to Yisrael, to the greater goal of the Jewish people. According to Rashi, it was an introduction and then a start over. According to the Abarbanel, it was an introduction and then more detail to prepare them. According to Rav Herzog, he did tell them about the Messianic era. That's the second pasuk. What we need to do is to come together and to listen as Bnei Yaakov, listen to that greater good of Yisrael Avichem.